Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge Wurundjeri country, as that is where this podcast is recorded, and extend this acknowledgement to all First Nations peoples, past, present, and emerging. This podcast takes a holistic approach on community building and knowledge sharing that I hope you can utilise in your life. Let's do this.
Morning light and coffee black. Lesson plans are on the stack. Ready for the students' track. Gonna find our groove.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stranger in the Staff Room, where myself, Zoe Zammit, or as the kiddos call me, Miss Zammit, I am a first-time teacher sharing lifelong stories, including the incredible Ali, also known as the Young Educator on Instagram. How are you going, my dear?
So good. So excited to be here today with you, Zoe. I know we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff today. So great to chat with you.
Yep, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get straight into it. But nothing is ugly about your setup. Like I look anemic compared to yours. Like I kind of want I want a little bit of a tour. I can see like the educator thing. That's so cute.
It is true. I do love a bit of color.
Stop.
I'm a big believer in dopamine dressing and like
Oh,
color
yes.
theory. I don't know. I just think, yeah, whether it's at home or in the classroom, just being around color just puts me in the mood, the good mood, and the kids vibe it. And then, yeah, you just hit the ground running.
It's win all round. And it's also like why I was so gravitated to following you and chatting to you in the first place, because like, especially now that I see this sort of background that you've got, it very much matches your Instagram. So it's very like what you see is what you get. So yeah. I really like that. Can we talk about how the Young Educator came to be on Instagram?
Yeah, well, it was so funny because before we started recording, you were telling me your journey in starting your podcast, and it reminded me a lot of me starting my Instagram for similar reasons. So you were sharing that you were kind of following your own first year of teaching and how you wanted to, do this audio documenting journal type thing to, record your experiences as a first year teacher. So similarly, before I had started teaching, so I was still studying, I, as an overthinking new teacher, I wanted to have that insight of what does it actually look like in the classroom. I didn't have any relatives that were teachers. You feel like you need that big sister energy to ask all those questions. Like, so assessment, what does that look like? Or, okay, you talk about lesson planning, but then when you put that into action, what's the next step, So I wanted to see 100%. That in action. And then my friend Katie actually mentioned, like I'm following all these teachers on Instagram and they're giving me inspiration for prac. And I thought, I had no idea because I'm such a visual person. So I love Pinterest. So I thought that sounds really right up my alley for ideas. So I jumped over, I followed a bunch of teachers and I thought, I've always loved having a journal. So I'm going to create my page to do exactly what you were saying, that documenting the good, the bad, the ugly, and sharing that really experience, especially at that point where I felt so you're equal parts excited, equal parts so nervous.
Yes.
And yeah. And it's
all
like,
at once.
It wasn't
Everything
even
all
that
at
I
once.
thought it would become anything. It was more so to connect with other teachers. Again, I didn't know anyone. And so I was there to ask all the questions. Like I would read Miss Jacobs' Little Learners blog on like how to do reading with students. And then I would go on and just connect with other teachers who were sharing like resources. And I really loved seeing like the resources and how they could help teach in the classroom. So then I went on the Teachers Pay Teachers and like downloaded all the free resources and started prepping. Like I don't even know what I was prepping because resources felt tangibly prepared for me. So, I couldn't prepare what students I'd have.
Yes, for sure.
But I could prepare if I had the perfect differentiated brain break resource, So yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, for sure.
Where I was at with my placements and then, started following more teachers on there. And yeah, it kind of snowballed from there, just sharing, then getting into my own classroom, what things I was finding hard or overwhelming or the challenges I was facing. Hey, has anyone had, like I would even post like, oh my goodness, I need ideas for assembly items because I you know, to get up on stage and coordinate something with a bunch of 6-year-olds really scared me. Yeah,
Oh,
so then I'd get a
no
lot of
pressure
people
or
messaging
anything.
me like, "Oh, we did this," and I got ideas from that, and then people would say, "Hey, can you share what ideas you got because I'm stuck." So then, yeah, I'd start posting some ideas, and I really liked that feeling of like, wow, like here I started as a new person, but people are coming to me now, and I really like that. Yes, I
Yeah,
really
it's the
love
next
that
chapter.
feeling of like, oh, if I can help someone who was in that same position like a few weeks ago or a few months ago or a few years ago, um, that felt really, really like next level teacher for me. Because that's our goal in the classroom, right? Like we're trying to scaffold
Hell
our
yeah.
students to get to their next step and to see that growth. So then when it was happening with adults, that like, you know, that felt really cool
Yes.
for me. So that kind of made me want to continue posting my experiences rather than being like, okay, it served its purpose. I'm no longer a new teacher. I felt like, oh, yeah, this is the next step for
Yeah,
me, you know?
exactly.
So, yes,
Yep, this is growth. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think like, and it's one of the things that I learnt in uni, especially like when you're in high school or even primary school, you're with so many different people that have different work ethics and things like that. So you sort of learn to just do your own thing. But then in uni, I realized, hang on, we all want to be
exactly.
teachers because we all want to help. So why wouldn't we help each other? And that made me more confident to
Yes,
make the podcast, to reach out to you, to, get to know what other people are doing. And, you know, the worst that people are going to say is no. And you'd be very
yes.
surprised how many people don't. Like everyone's just willing to help. And
I think so.
by the
And I
sounds of things,
think
you've had the
as
same
long as
experience.
people know that you come in with the good intentions, because I know it depends on the culture of schools with the whole like sharing information and what have you. But
Mm,
I have always had that experience. If you come to, especially an experienced teacher, and you say, I really want to see how you do X, Y, Z, for the most part, people are really honored that you would come to them for that question because that's what they're there for. They're there to teach. So if that's to pass on information or to share what it looks like, as long as they know that you're coming from a genuine place, not to like, um, and again, it wouldn't even happen, but you know, it can be scary and vulnerable to share what you're doing, right? Especially if you don't know that person.
yes.
Like, are they coming to judge me? If you're coming genuinely like
Yeah.
coming for help because hey, I'm really stuck. People want to help. Like at the end of the day, especially it's such an honor to like ask you. But yeah, I just think that for the most part, teachers really are that kind of built human to want to help other humans. So I do love our industry for that
For
reason. As
sure.
long as leadership can really foster that, I think that's a beautiful strength in schools.
Yeah, 110%. No, I'm with you. That sense of community is,
I
it is
agree.
becoming more easy to
I
find, but
agree. I
you've got
think
to, yeah, you've got to judge it.
hopefully
Yeah.
with the teachers coming through, if that uh, culture can be fostered and encouraged, because that's the thing, right? Like we have all these aspirations as a new teacher coming into schools. I'm going to be a change maker. I'm going to collaborate and lead and like take on this
Yes.
passion project. But then as long as that's met with support in schools, then that can really be fostered. Then that's great. That's why I really feel protective of new teachers if they're not fostered in schools, then it can be really sad because you never want
Yes.
someone's sparkle to be dimmed or not supported, or even if you're a little bit
Yeah.
naive, that's okay. Naivety is really just excitement and like not having the experience, right? Um, yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly. You don't
why,
know
you
what you
know,
don't
even
know.
with leadership and things, I think there's a place for everyone. It doesn't matter on the experience because everyone's got our strengths, right? To offer to the staff room and to schools. I think a lot of cool things are coming into education now, and we just need to be open to growing and changing. Doesn't matter who's in the staff room, you know. I think that
Yes.
we all have something to offer. Yeah.
110%. 100%. And I feel like that was a bit of imposter syndrome in me when I started. It could have been the same for you. But
Hmm.
you go in, you're like, oh, I'm just a new kid. What do I know? And it's like, well, hang on. these people might not have been at university for a decade, even more. So maybe there's some things that they're teaching in university now that they would love to know about, but because you're not
That's
speaking
exactly
it,
right.
they don't know what they don't know. So yeah,
I
finding those strengths are really helpful.
Yeah, I think that's definitely how I felt. Like, I'm like, what do I have to offer, right? But the more you, and to be honest, like, it does take time to really build up the courage to share in the staff room or share at team meetings. And there is times and places where you feel like, oh, my opinion might not be want to be heard. But the more you're surrounded by people who lift you up and remind you of your value, I think you get that confidence to start sharing more and get that feeling of like other people feeling really helped by what you have to say. I mean, who was I, like a new teacher? I wasn't even in the classroom yet, sharing like, this is my idea, and people going,
Yeah.
I love this. Can I have this? Yeah. And I'm like, well, I haven't actually used
Let's
it
go.
for real yet. Sure, you can have it, experienced teacher of 10 years, sure. Yeah, so that's what taught me,
Yeah,
like,
right.
oh, it actually doesn't matter about experience. It's like if you're got the right intentions, and you're genuinely there to help your staff on your school staff to then help the broader school grow, then yeah, experience doesn't mean anything as long as you've got your heart in the right place, I think.
Yep, 110%. I'm with you on that. Speaking of like, that experience and sort of things, we've spoken about how the young educator came to be.
Ooh,
how did Ali as a teacher come to be?
That is a hot and spicy question.
Mind blown, deep and meaningful before we even hit the PM today. As little or as much as you like. I'm just here to, I'm happy to be here.
So I didn't have a great childhood. I've shared a little bit of that on my Instagram without getting into the nitty gritty of that. I found that growing up, my constant people were my teachers. And that didn't mean that I was like going to school and going, I want to become a teacher. That was just one of those things that was clearly my foundational view of the world. Like, safe people are the teachers. And the people who believe in me are the teachers. And so then I would, go into high school, and same thing. Like, to be honest, I wasn't studious from like year 7 to 10. I was definitely there. Like one of the most hardest, sorry, that's not even worded correctly. How do I say it? You know how the schools get reputations for being like, oh, one of those schools? I went to one of those schools. It was like, yes, it was the known school.
So did I.
Oh, you went there. It was one of the biggest schools in the state at the time. It was also one of those schools that people just knew the reputation. And so I went there, and I was just a little fish in a big sea. And, some of the educators were really great, but for the most part, they were just trying to keep fires, putting out the fires at the time. And it was just by chance that I didn't fall into the wrong crowd, I guess. But I definitely wasn't there to learn. I was just there to do the thing of going to school. And then in the senior years, something shifted in me. I think a lot of people left school that clearly didn't care for school. And so the people that were left were people probably wanting to try to become something further beyond, I guess, what I feel like this is really judgy. I need a pause here.
No.
Yeah, just delete that part.
All good, take your time.
Just like, I guess the people who want to to stay on were the people who are going to try. So I guess I was around people, and that peer pressure, I thought, wow, well, maybe I'll try too. I'll try and study, And I think at that time I started thinking, wow, life outside of home could be something. And, also at that point of your schooling journey, you get asked, what do you want to do? And of course, all of a sudden you've got to figure out what you want to do with your life.
Yes.
And of course,
for the rest of your life. Oh my God.
Like, oh my goodness. Like, that is such a big decision. And so I just thought my options for me, I really felt sad for little Ali, like my life prior to that. And so my passion lied in protecting other younger people. And so if I combined that feeling, like that little bit of passion, with also who were my safe people in my life. They were my teachers. They inspired me the most. And they were the ones, like I had this amazing mentor teacher who fully like organized me to learn how to drive, which actually allowed me
Oh my
to leave
gosh.
home and actually study at uni. So without that person, I don't know where I would be, because I would have been so far from anything remotely accessible to start a life for myself. So in that inspiration of that teacher believing in me and giving me those tools that she really didn't have to, like that was really outside of her scope of needing to do that. And I've run into her multiple times, and like I would say to her, like in the shopping center, my husband, I'd be like, this is a lady who saved my life. Like, and my husband's been there from the start as well. So he kind of knows the journey, but like I'm just so grateful for those educators that did those extra steps. And I wanted to do the same with my students, like not even students at that point. I wanted to do that for other people. And then, so I thought, you know what, teaching is going to be the thing I want to do. But even in saying that, it was unfortunately met with a lot of judgment from family, because I had my older brother who was studying to be a solicitor at the time. So that was like the accepted route, like a high achieving like doctor or lawyer, and which is so funny, because like really like I mean, teachers make lawyers, don't they? And teachers make so
110%.
Yeah.
Where do they get the analysis skills from?
But the funny thing was, with my
knew.
personality type, I'm very headstrong. So when someone says I can't do something, I do it 110% better. So that actually,
Hold my drink.
gave me the fire in my belly to prove everyone wrong. And I ended up working really hard and finishing the top of my degree. And then it was also met with lots of like lecturers and things at the time to say, because back then it was really hard to get a job as a teacher. Like I know now people are leaving the industry quite quickly, and it's still hard to get a permanent job, but there is a lot more spaces in schools to be open to get your foot in the door, where back then it wasn't.
Yes.
So that stressed me out, because all I wanted to be at that point was a teacher. So, lots of people would say like it's very unlikely that you'd get a job. So I said, again, watch me.
Great.
I scored a position straight out of uni. Like I worked really hard, and I like looking back, it was a lot of hard work to get to that point, because I felt like getting this job meant I would escape the life I was coming from, right? For me, it was like, this is the only option for me. And so I did. I worked my butt off. I went through from high school to uni, did the 4 years and completed, got a job. And of course, the start of the year that I was meant to start, I had a nervous breakdown, because I had worked so hard and I got the thing I wanted, that I don't even think my nervous system had processed all of that. And then the syndrome came, because 100%. I'm like, oh, I've got a job and I still don't know.
Oh, now I got to do it.
Confident, So then came the real thing of actually having to do the thing, and teaching my body like, hey, you can do this thing, and it's okay to not know everything. So that was kind of my journey. I did say, did you want to get deep? So that's the real story.
Oh, I'm here for it. 110%. And thank you so much for sharing. That's like, it's all good. And it's like, especially like that teacher that you said, like, helped you, get your license and things like that. And we'll get to this towards the end of our time together today. But a lot of the lifelong stories, when I say first time teacher, lifelong stories, it's not about what you teach them in the curriculum. It's those extra steps that, we go. And, I very much relate to your story. I'm a bit of the black cat in my family, the black sheep.
Oh, okay. Well, only child.
I'm an only child.
Only child and middle child. They can be similar in some ways, but Okay, so you had a lot to prove.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Very much, Yes, oh my goodness, and eyes on me all the time. But the thing was that I'm very lucky, my family were very much, as long as you do better than me in school, you're good. And I'm like, all right, cool. So the only difference I feel from our stories was that I was naturally quite a bit of a nerd. Like I liked learning. But yeah, I was the
Yeah.
oddball because I went to one of those schools.
Out.
So, but the thing was, yes. And again, if someone tells me I can't do it, I'll double down. So when people, were like, oh, she's the nerd, I'm like, okay, watch me do better again.
Yes,
watch me be your friend and still do better. Like, watch me do both. So that's where I sort of got that from. So from your story, you went into primary teaching. If it was, the question I sort of want to ask is because you've said that, like, that one moment of that teacher, helping you sort of escape the life that you've been wanting to, change. If that was in high school, what led you to primary then?
I think I wanted to catch the kids before they got to that point. I have never thought about that. That really challenges my thinking. I think I wanted to catch them early. And so my thinking must have been, I think my heart would be broken as a high school teacher to know that, say, if I had a student and they came to me in year 10, that if I was their teacher in kindergarten, I could have advocated for them earlier. I could have flagged they need more support earlier, or even just like taught them the reading skills earlier. Because, I mean, you're from high school, aren't you? Your teaching role, So I think, but that's not to discredit where high school teachers are. I just think the gap is so large in high school that I don't think, I think it would make me too sad if I was really honest. And that's not to say that high school teachers can't do the work, but I just know how hard it is once they come to you in high school that to work on, especially like even the gaps we speak about now when kids come to us in, say, year 2, year 3, we're like, wow, that, we're really working on them. They're still working at like early stage 1 level or like year 1 level of phonics, right? Or like reading skills. And I know that you guys get kids in year 10 who are at that level. So like, I know how hard it is in the middle primaries having that gap, let alone being in the high school. And again, not saying you can't work with kids, but I think I felt really motivated to catch everyone, catch all the kids as soon as they get to school. And I really love the early years. Like I did actually a double degree of early childhood education and primary. So I can teach up to year 6, but my passion lies in the early years. I love understanding brain development in learning and also fascinating learning about, how you can foster kids early with their learning and support their interests as a learner and how that shapes how they see themselves as a learner going through school. So I think that's where it comes back to me wanting to be a part of that early foundational learning, because that does set you up as a learner going through not only high school but life. Also, high school seems scary. I was not a cool person in high school. I was like, why would I choose to go back to high school?
Don't stress.
Even talking to some year 6s, I'm like, oh, they know I'm not cool. They figured me out.
They figured me out.
The little kids scared me less.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. No, but that totally makes sense because I originally wanted to do primary as well because even like grade 2 was like a big year for me, and that's when I had my first ever favorite teacher because I was bullied quite a bit, and he was the one who put a stop to that. And he was also like very much back in those days. There was no blue job and pink job. There was no boys play sports, girls play with dolls, because I was very tomboy. So we'd all go out on a Friday and kick the footy, and he would make sure that the boys would pass it to me and get me involved. And Yeah. And I ended up from then playing basketball for 10 years. Yeah. So with me, I went back to my old primary school for work experience in year 10, and he was still there. So I was able to go back, and I've seen him a couple of times. Yeah. I've seen him a couple of times before that, but I'm like, hey, I'm technically working with you for a bit. And so yeah, it was really sweet to see him behind the scenes and like what he, and he said to me, like, for example, when it was you, I would do this, this, and this. And I was like, oh, bless. It was beautiful. I loved it. And so I went to my mum after I did work experience, and I said, I want to be a primary teacher. And so it was coincidentally around the time of parent-teacher interviews, and it came to my maths teacher. Now, my maths teacher was one of the strict ones in high school, and coincidentally, I had him for 4 years, year 7 to year 10. I don't know how that happened, but I did. And so he, like, if you told teenage me, like, who's the teachers that look out for you, he would not have been one. I don't know why. Like, teenage brain me was like, he doesn't understand. I don't know, just angsty and just, ugh. Anyway, but when mum said, oh, she wants to be a primary teacher, he looked around apparently and looked at mum and said, if you say I said this, I'll deny it, but she needs to go into high school teaching. And mum's like, oh, he goes, I'm not meant to give advice. He goes, but her mannerism and he goes, I see her help the kids. He goes, I don't have to teach half the time when she's in the class because she's helping them with maths, but then she'll talk to me, and I have to remember that she's a student, not a colleague. Like, he's, like she will thrive in high school teaching. And then mum came home and told me, I'm like,
did you get lost?
He said was that. I was like, he said that.
It was
like
someone else. Like, what do you mean?
I was like, you know what? And I looked into the degrees, and even with a secondary one, if I got into a high school setting and I didn't like it, I could teach as young as grade 5. So I was like, you know what? We'll give it a go. And I did my first placement, and I had the most fun that I ever had. It was just great. And I was like, yeah, he was right. And so it made me realize how many teachers were looking out for me. But yeah, look, high school, if you told me when I was like year 7, I'm like, hey, you're going to come back here and you're going to work, I would have been like, oh my God, no. That. Yeah. Because high school wasn't a good journey for me, because I was the nerd and I got the grades. Then teachers were like, oh, she's passing, she's fine. Like, but no, I was having a lot of mental health struggles.
Your own devices. You weren't getting the support elsewhere. And probably because you weren't an loud, obnoxious student screaming at the walls, that they probably thought, we've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, no.
She's all good.
100%. I grew up as the young person with adults. So I had adult sense of humor. So they're just like, oh, yeah, no, she's fine. She's mature. She's fine. Yeah, she's one of us. It's cool. Like, she'll look after them. And I'm just like, no, I'm like, because at that point, I only got diagnosed with ADHD this year. So I didn't know back then that all of this that was going on in my brain wasn't, the norm. Yeah, so I sort of wanted to come back into high school. Like, yes, I knew the content because I was a bit of a nerd, but I could see the kids that were struggling even if the others didn't. Yeah, so that was my sort of space. It was sort of like, it's almost like, the kids that you sort of catch early, reminding them, hey, I'm here, we're good.
Sounds like you, similarly to me, you almost replayed the part that you wish was done for you. Yeah, I really like that. And can I ask you, was that very healing 100%. For you coming back into the high school in that role to do what you wish was done for you? Yeah.
Yes. And like, I know how you said high school's scary, and see, the little kids scare me because they like, I don't know what it is, but like with high school, I can be like, guys, I'm tired today. Help me help you. And they're like, yeah, fair enough. Whereas little kids, they're like, no, what's your 3rd favorite dinosaur? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, yeah, you have to be on all the time.
It can work both ways.
Is something that I struggle with anyway.
Having a bad morning, you're like, oh,
yeah, for sure.
I got a puppy yesterday, and you're like, oh, well, I can't be sad now. And then you just,
oh wait, that's cute.
They kind of do pep you up. So yes, I agree. You do have to be on, and it does feel like you are playing the role of a celebrity and a TV show person, entertainer, a coordinator, a stage coach, all at once. I'm sure even in your role, like, they are big kids, aren't they? At the end of the day, I'm sure they still get excited by the little things, and I'm sure they would appreciate a sticker.
Oh, 100% they do. I play with my classes if I can find a booket or something like that to play 10 minutes at the start of class, and that's sort of like their intro. And a lot of teachers are against it, but I'm like, if you saw how much they actually remember, Just
Not until
saying.
you try it.
So it's funny because I have a satchel with stickers in it, and one of my cousins was like, "You teach high school," and her kids are 15 and 12. I said, "Watch this. Hey, kids, do you want a sticker?" They go, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
And she's like,
literally big kids. They're just, I mean, we all have an inner child, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just because they're tall and they seem cool and
Yeah.
disinterested, you think they won't be about that, but yeah, they're just big kids.
And so, like, to go back to your question, I've had a couple of neurodivergent kids who, like, whether they are, like, for lack of better words, low performing or high performing, I've had messages from them saying, like, anytime I walk into your classroom, I know I'm going to be okay. And I'm like, oh, like, I have one kid who they were going for a dysgraphia diagnosis, and they told their home group teacher, who's a really good friend of mine, that English is his favorite subject because I make
Wow.
it feel okay. That was a year 7, and year 11. So this is a 16-year-old boy now we're talking about. We're talking about someone who's big and tough and, don't mess with me. I said to him, because he had ADHD, and he just looked like death this one day. And I was like, you don't have the same 24 hours as everyone else today, do you? And he just went, huh? And I was like, I've got the same brain as you. I get it. Stay after class. I'll tell you what I do when I'm like this. And he sent me an email like that night saying, like, thank you for letting me know that even though, like, I'm working so hard for these scores, I know I'm doing it for a purpose, and I know that, like, I can be something. And I just, like, was at my computer crying because I'm like, you're not even meant to know what emotions
Let
are,
alone
let
to
alone
come
express
back
them like
and
this.
email you that. Because that was quite unique,
Yes.
that moment that he'd actually let you know. But how many students you would actually touch, like, and
Yes.
actually make them feel seen?
Yes.
And I mean, it is an effort to go out of their way to email you. So, like, it's just like, that's just like the 1%.
Yes.
Yeah, to communicate.
They're just the ones that are
like
confident enough.
Some kid, I mean, a lot of students feel like, oh, that's weird if I did let a teacher know that they made me feel safe or whatever. But they're the moments that I think you were saying, what were they? Lifelong, what were you saying? Yeah, lifelong stories. I wouldn't be
Lifelong
surprised.
stories.
Like, I could even imagine that student that emailed you coming back to you when he's 30 and has his own business and feels successful, that he remembers that moment, and
Yes.
it was because of you he felt like, I could keep going even with this brain that feels so overwhelming at times, that he could become something, because he's not only seen you be successful, but he's felt seen. I hope that feeling that you got in that moment is the same feeling that your teacher, your year 2 teacher, got when you came back. Did you ever tell him you became a teacher, like, inspired by him? Did you ever say that to him or not?
Yeah, I think I did. Well, I mean, I think by the end of the placement, I said, yeah, I'm going to do teaching. And it was funny because a lot of teachers said to my mum, like, if she doesn't work with people, I don't know what's going to, like, I don't know anything. So I think I remember saying to him, like, I think I'm going to go into teaching. He goes, that doesn't shock me. He goes, I'll see you around. Like, so it's very cute. This has been awesome, Ali. Just 2 more questions that I've got for you.
I'm so sorry if we've gone
How
off
quick has
the
it gone?
tangent and we haven't even answered any of your questions.
Oh, it's not my podcast
so
if we
fun.
haven't. It's
And
fine.
also, like, this is one of my passion topics.
I love it.
I'm so glad we could chat a lot about this today. But I think at the end of the day, if a teacher hears this and knows, like, oh, I think exactly like these ladies, then that's a confirmation. Like, you don't have to know all the teaching strategies. As long as your heart is in it, like, the rest will come, right?
If you could wave a magic wand to change something about the education field at the moment,
I think I can't remember if we spoke about it at the start of this or off mic, but probably the cultures in school and, like, in general leadership, like I said, fostering not just beginning teachers, but just that culture in general. I wish that every school had a leadership that made every teacher feel seen and celebrated and like they all had something to offer.
Yes.
I know that on both ends of the spectrum, right? New teachers coming in might not feel like they have anything to offer because they don't have the experience. And equally, experienced teachers might feel a little bit uncelebrated because, they've been there for so long and, like, Similarly to how you felt in high school,
Yeah.
like she's all good, like we don't need to, you know, ask her how things are going, but they
Yeah.
have opinions too, and like they have a lot to offer actually because they've got the experience. And yes, things have changed, but I think if everyone can feel like they can continue to grow and feel fostered and supported, I wish that upon every school. And I think if teachers had that feeling, because at the end of the day, every teacher wants to stay in the classroom, they love the students. That's the part we love, right? But
Yeah.
it's the extra stuff that obviously, like,
100%.
yes, we feel like workload is a lot, admin is a lot. And yes, like there can be things put into place to help that. But how different do you feel if you've got a huge workload, if at the end of the day you have someone in your corner saying, I know it's been an epic day, I see what you're doing, and wow, I can't believe you did X, Y, and Z this week, knowing that like you are a person
Yes.
outside of school, right? That's probably dealing with other things. If you can be seen and supported in that way,
For sure.
how much happier as a teacher would you feel showing up the next day, right? If I could wave a magic wand,
Yeah.
it would be that every teacher felt seen, celebrated for the amazing educators they are, and continued to be supported, whether that be like, what do you want your career to look like in the next 5 years? What goals do you have? Do you want to do leadership? It's okay if you don't want to, but how can we foster your passions elsewhere?
100%. And I feel like, especially now going through my first year of teaching, I feel like what makes people leave the profession is they don't feel like they're resilient enough. And I didn't realize how much a community and that one person being like, hey, I see you, you've done well, is like, that just boosts your resilience from 0 to 100. So
Right. Figure that
it's
out.
almost like we're human as
Coming
well.
back to your purpose of your pod, you talk about being a student, being a teacher, being a human. I feel like we are students forever. Like we're learning, we're growing. We're not going to become a teacher and
Yes.
stop there. Like we want to keep learning.
No, I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, especially like I took it as like you need community, but yeah, leadership is where that community starts. I totally agree with you. I know you mentioned about that teacher that helped you, and that's been a lifelong story for you. What's a lifelong story that has come from one of your students that you've made a difference?
Actually, I had never shared this before, and because it's quite, well, I have shared it now
Well,
since,
first.
but it's only recent that I've come back to it. Because
Okay.
when, like, even when you were saying before with that student, it hits you in the feels sometimes that it's too much to even like think about. I remember rewinding back to at uni, I was, told by lecturers, oh, like you won't get a job or whatever. And I learnt that my uni was running a program for working in like doing your placements in low socioeconomic schools, and that really like piqued my interest because I was that kid, so I wanted to have an experience with those schools. So all of my placements were done in those tougher areas, like that didn't have as much financial support or even just like the resources. And, these were kids who might be in foster care or just come from really tough backgrounds. Anyway, I did my final placement, my internship, and I was on what they would classify as like the toughest class in the school. It was a year 2 class. And, even before starting, I had multiple like staff members ring me, like the principal, just to say, hey, just letting you know it's a really tough class. Are you sure you want to come to us?
Oh God, no pressure or anything.
I was like, yeah, I know what I'm like. I chose to come to your school. Like I understand.
Yeah.
And so I did. I went in, and it was really like sad, because you see these little humans, and then as a teacher, you start to learn about their backgrounds and like what kind of mornings they have before even coming to your door. And there was one particular student who was really disengaged, and like they were the kid that like the teacher had to say to me, hey, like you're going to try and teach a lesson and they won't even be a part of the group. I really learned quickly that he was a really bright kid, that I think like not having the magic knowing, but he just gave me the vibe that he was quite intelligent, but he just hadn't been like met with his skill level yet, or like he didn't see himself as a competent learner. So it was almost like if he's quiet in the corner, then we've achieved something that day. But I just knew that his passions were drawing, because that was what they would let him do in the corner if
Yep.
he wasn't disrupting the class. He loved drawing. He was a very talented artist. And I thought, okay, like, so, you know, some days I would come in and we would do like literacy sort of groups. So, you know, he'd do a task and I'd say, okay, well, we're going to do a bit of writing and then you can help me like illustrate this part of your writing and work together. So just little bits each day
Yep.
felt like a win. If I got him to apply himself for even if it was like 2 minutes, that was like a success for me because I didn't know what else he would be doing otherwise. Yes. Anyway,
Fist
fast
pump
forward
moment.
to my last day of internship. Again, this was like there was a whole bunch of special, like the whole class was special in their own way. But he was that kid that like, I was like, did I get through to him? Like, he just seemed like his own world kind of thing. Like, it wasn't one of those kids that was hugging me every day, like, don't leave, don't leave. You know? And then at the end of my placement, you know, the kids might have done some sort of like singing a song to me, like, thank you for being my teacher or whatever. And I know they are very cute.
Yeah, right.
At the end of that, he came up to me with a huge, like, it was like a rolled up poster. And I was like, oh, like thinking it's a card or something from the class. I wasn't sure what it was. And he goes, oh, like I don't even think he said anything. I think he just like threw it at me. And I was like, oh, like, what is this? Haha. And I unroll it. And he's drawn a massive penguin. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like that's my favorite animal. And I thought back to like the first day that I met him and, you know, I'm trying to make a connection. I'm like, oh, what animals do you like? He said, oh, I like a penguin. I said, I love penguins. Like they're my favorite animal, you know? And I said that off the cuff.
Oh, he remembered.
And not only that, he drew it for me and it said from his name and his sibling's name. And his sibling's name was quite unique. And it's equally my brother's name and like it's a unique name. And so I was like, wow, like that's my name. And he goes, oh, I like stayed up and we drew it together, like kind of thing. And I thought, wow, like you didn't have to do that. The only thing you had to give me, like you don't come from much. The only thing you had to give me, which is your most prized possession, is your skill of drawing. And he did. It was beautiful. And that picture still hangs up in my study because in that moment it reminded me, like, it doesn't matter how much you don't know of your impact, you can still be making an impact. And that was one of those moments of like going, wow, this kid who I don't even know if he cared for me nagging him every day to do a bit of writing, I actually did make an impact with him because he was so sad that I was leaving. And when he gave me that, like, I was just like, wow, like that was not the kid that I thought would actually be grateful for anything that I've done. I will always remember that moment, and I hope that he found other teachers to foster that amazing student that I know he was. He just needed to have a bit of people meeting him halfway and encouraging, you know, his amazingness and not kind of pushing him to the side because of he not fitting into a box or whatever. So do you ever like think, I wonder where those kids are now? Like, I know it's so weird because like as teachers, you know, and so rightly so, we can't be in contact with our ex-students, but I wish I had a glass ball to know where do these kids end up and like, are they okay? I guess because as teachers, and that's why I always find the end of the year sad and hard, because as teachers, as professionals, we have to go, okay, my job's done, right? But how do you turn off your heart for those kids that were your kids? Even for that prac, it wasn't even a year. It was like, I think it was like maybe 6 weeks or something. Like, how do you stop caring where they end up, you know?
Like, I'll be lucky to see you down the street. And just like that. And it's wild. So insane to think that.
I think we are becoming that person that we had, like we looked up to our teachers. It's just, we just don't know it. And like, I guess, unless you run into
we're too
them,
busy going day by day.
You won't know it. And
well, thank you so much, Ali. So you can find Ali at The Young Educator on Instagram.
I mean, I'm on TikTok and all the things, The Young Educator. I also have my teacher brand, Educator Bling. So if you're interested in finding the perfect teacher bag, come on over because I have invented it, and I will say it's very loved for people who want to feel sparkly on the daily basis.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
I will be doom
Absolutely
scrolling that
should.
as soon as we get off. Done.
No worries, Zoe.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And with Stranger in the good. And Stranger in the Staff Room, we are now on Apple Podcasts as well as YouTube and Spotify. So feel free to follow us on there, leave a comment and a review if you enjoyed. This is Stranger in the Staff Room, over and out.
Teaching vibes were in the air, sharing knowledge everywhere.